Hey horror fans, welcome back to Room 237, coming at you with another random review. And yes, I know I said I was going to start my Vincent Price marathon, which I did last night with my last video, House of Wax. But I was out running some errands today, and I know I've been trying to catch up on some modern horror movies, like 2010 to 19. And I found some that I haven't seen in, like, the really cheapo bin at Walmart. And so the one that, well, two I haven't seen is, I remember when this came out, I don't know a damn thing about it, but I know it got crazy reviews. A lot of people have been saying wonderful things about it. That is The Babadook. And I am probably the only person in the population that has not seen this film yet. That is Get Out. I've never gotten around to seeing these. I am so behind on, like, this decade's horror films. And the ones I've already reviewed, I've been very impressed with. So, I've been very impressed with this past decade. And the one I'm going to be reviewing right now is a film from 2014, and that is It Follows. Now, this film, I actually Redboxed this when it first came out 6 years ago now at this point. But that I was drinking at that time, and at that period I was Redboxing movies and then getting drunk watching them and then forgetting the next day what I saw. So I literally forgot everything from this movie. And for whatever reason, like, that famous scene with the lead girl strapped to the wheelchair, I always got that image and the cover of Don't Breathe, like, mixed up. I forget which one went to which film for whatever reason. Now I know. But It Follows. This is a movie that got great reviews upon release. It was made on a $2 million budget. Made 23. So I mean, it's not like it was a massive hit, but it made a shit ton of money. It was a hit, but it's not like it, you know. And the thing about it is, it doesn't really say when it takes place, because the kids have the kids in the film, they have, like, modern devices. Like, this one girl has, it looks like a mirror compact, but it's like a Kindle. She's always reading on it. But the cars are all old. There's black and white TVs. The decor, the insides of the house is like wood paneling and shag carpeting. So it has this feel of, like, 80s or 70s. Even the theatrical poster, which I actually really like, has like a 70s, 80s kind of feel. It has a 96 on Rotten Tomatoes, so it's another one of those, you know, it was very well received. It was directed by David Robert Mitchell, who also wrote the film, and I don't know what else he's done. He directed a film called Virgin, The Myth of the American Sleepover, It Follows, and Under the Silver Lake, which I've heard. It's a conspiracy thriller. Not really interested in seeing that. This is a very interesting film. Quite original. At least I haven't seen a film with this kind of concept. And what it is we don't really know what the It That Follows is, but we follow our lead character, who's this girl named Jay, who is played by Maika Monroe, if I pronounce her name right. She's seeing this guy named Hugh. They go out on a date. They have sex in this car. And then he chloroforms her. She wakes up in her underwear, tied to a wheelchair. And he tells, like, he doesn't assault her, but he tells her that, you know, she's going to be followed by someone that only she will be able to see, and him. Because in the very, very beginning of the film, he mentions a woman in a dress that only he could see. And he says the only way to make these people or this person to stop following her is to have sex with someone else. It's happening to her because he had sex with her. It happened to him because he had sex with someone else. Which actually, we do see a girl in the opening of the film, like, laying on her back, and her leg is, like, bent the wrong way, and it's all bloody and fucked up. We never do see the it in its true form, whatever it might be. It's one of those films that's sort of open to interpretation. A lot of people take different things away from it. But I mean, Boing Boing, whatever that is, calls it the best horror movie in over a decade. Rolling Stone, nothing short of amazing. Real Film, an instant classic. Entertainment Weekly, dizzyingly tense and creepy. And Bloody Disgusting, scariest movie of 2015. I thought it said 14. I guess it's 15, but so basically, and then she gets dropped back off at her house, and she's with her friends who was kind of her good friend Paul, played by Keir Gilchrist, and then who the hell? Because did he have? I thought there's two girls and then her friend Paul. I thought one of the sisters was one of Paul's sisters. I guess not. But and then eventually this kid Greg comes in, and they can't see the people that are following her, and basically, like, they're just people that, you know, kind of like the crazies, but they're not all infected looking. And they just they just follow them. And if they get a hold of them, they kill them. But they can still mess with people around them. Like, there's a part when they're at, like, a beach, and, like, we see her hair get picked up, and her friend Paul gets, like, thrown away. So it is invisible to everybody. Yeah, I wanted to see what exactly this says. It kills him by having sex with him, essentially. Violently. They try to find her boyfriend. Come to find out, he faked his name and, like, was renting a dilapidated house. He's from out of town. But this movie has vibes of other films from the 80s. I mean, it's got, like, this unknown entity kind of film. So, like, The Entity from, I think, 1980 or 81. You have, like, the 80s coming of age kind of teenage film. The sexual nature kind of gives Cronenberg vibes, at least for me. And it's pretty much this group of friends trying to save this girl from being killed by this thing that's following her. And it always appears as a different person. And, you know, eventually she has sex with the Greg guy. And to see if he will see anything, because he doesn't really believe. Excuse me. But eventually his own mother is the entity, so I'm guessing it possesses nearby people. And I literally just got done watching this. If I'm getting shit wrong, it went over my head. I mean, this isn't the kind of horror film I'm normally used to. I mean, I understood Hereditary, Lighthouse, The Witch. I like all that stuff. This one's a bit different for me. And don't be an asshole in the comments. So, like, we actually see Greg's mother, like, when she kills him. It was done nicely because Jay is standing in the hallway, so she sees the mother, but she, like, dives into the bedroom, like, off screen. But then when she looks, she's, like, having sex with his dead body. And I don't know if it's consuming something or what. And then eventually, they want to lure it into this, like a Y or something, like the swimming pool, and dropping electrical devices into the water. And, it takes the appearance of her father, and it's throwing. They bring all these electrical appliances, like TVs, radios, whatever. Another thing, the radios and TVs are fucking huge, which also makes me think it's the 80s. They, I guess, killed the entity. Paul shoots it with something. They see the pool fill with blood. Because at that point, she let Paul have sex with her. This was after Greg was killed. And Paul was like the friend zone one. And, you know, there's like a part where he says, you know, I've always liked you. We've always been friends. Why'd you choose him? So he's like the friend zoned kid. And, so then Paul, I think it's implied, he like drives down the road into the seedy area of town past prostitutes. So we're thinking he took it away from her, now he's passing it on. And then we see the two of them holding hands walking down the street, and in the background we see a figure, you know, blurry, out of focus, way behind him, following them. And that's usually the scares. It's, you know, stuff in the background, which I really like. It's, you know, when we see the people following them, they have like this blank expression. It's, you know, just like subtle movements. It's more creepy than jumpy and scary. But I would say the best part of this film is without a doubt the score. This has got to be one of the best and most wide scores I've ever seen for a horror film. It was done by a guy named a Disaster Piece. Not like the Slipknot song, but peace as in like peace and love. He's done, I want to see what else he's done, because there's like a 5-minute featurette with him on the Blu-ray. he started out doing scores for video games. Those were his album soundtracks. Well, it was the game Fez that the director played and got him interested. I've never heard of any of these games or other movies. He did Under the Silver Lake. But some of the score is like this very simple, subtle, like John Carpenter type score, which was a direction he was given. Like music, like when they're just driving around, is just like this subtle bass line that's supposed to sound like the car engine running, that just kind of fades into the background. Other like big psycho shower scene, like music stings, or like Charles Bernstein, like just sounds of just pure like adrenaline and violation, just like this bam, like the one Charles Bernstein did for The Entity, which that same piece was also used for Inglourious Basterds. My favorite piece was when they first get with Greg and they're driving around, they're going to the house that her boyfriend stayed at. It's got like this, like the Maniac remake and like Requiem for a Dream. Like the score is all over the place, but it's, you know, it's everything from subtle and dark and ominous and moody to just really aggressive and erratic and just sounds of violation. But it's all moody and it all fits. The score was the best part of this film. A lot of the interpretations have been, you know, this thing that follows you to kill you by having sex, and the only way to get rid of it is to have sex with other people, spread it. Is that it's an allegory for HIV and AIDS or other STDs, which I thought that was a neat and original way to handle something like that. Also, giving this like 1980s aesthetic really implies AIDS even more. Even the director said something about, you know, the link between sex and death, and the only way to experience sex is to like push death away and vice versa. I don't know, it got really deep. But that's what I seem to go with, is it's like an allegory, or, you know, can be interpreted as, you know, like a walking STD essentially. I'll say yeah, maybe some stuff, some finer facts went over my head. I don't know if this would be under the intellectual or pretentious horror sort of subgenre that's been rising, at least in the past decade. I didn't like it as much of a film as, say, like Don't Breathe. Certainly not The Witch or The Lighthouse. Maybe not even Hereditary, but I still thought it was pretty damn good. Maybe not 100% with all the praise on this, but I still thought it was pretty good. So 2000, apparently 15's It Follows. Thank you for watching.